Alright, so, welcome to my awful, terrible, whatever tutorial of Shantotto. Let's start from the top. She's got bravery attacks, right? So she's got a neutral, a forward, and a back, because she's a normal character and she's not Vaughn. What you need to know about her is that her neutrals, both on the ground and in the air, serve the same purpose. They're both fireball-esque projectiles that go in a straight line toward your opponent with very minimal tracking. On the ground, when she casts Freeze, this actually has really strong potential to go through other projectiles, where Flare is a little weaker. So on the ground, she has a little bit more ability to deal with other marksmen. But both projectiles exist in the same way. Holding back in Bravery attack, you either get Quake or you get Burst. Both of these have the same purpose. They'll appear directly upon the opponent, they're pretty quick, and they're used to interrupt. The thing about Quake, as you can probably guess, it's going to come straight out of the ground. So if your opponent's in the air, it's useless. You got to short hop and use Burst in order to get to an opponent that's airborne. And then on the ground, Forward and Bravery creates this Tornado. As minimal tracking is going to stay out for a while. And then Forward and then in the air is going to be Flood, which is going to also stay out for a while, have minimal tracking, and it kind of homes in for a while. Other than that, her dash attack on both the ground and the air is Poison. It's pretty good. It used to be a lot faster in previous games, but it's not bad right now. In Rage mode, it gets really dumb, but we'll get to that later. Basically, the concept of using her in neutral when it comes to attacks is you're going to try to have a variety of attacks. So probably not back attacks, the back braveries, if you will, unless you're trying to interrupt somebody. Or you're trying to go after the core. Shantotto is really, really proficient at going after the core because of the way that these attacks work. She can actually like stay behind a wall the whole time and take the core out pretty much by herself. Anyway, the concept here is do a forward bravery attack to keep something going, then a neutral, and then a dash attack, or two neutrals simultaneously. But the idea is to not do two forwards at the same time, because as soon as you do a second one, your original Tornado or Flood is going to disappear. However, as you saw right here, you can set out a Tornado, short hop, and then send out a Flood, and you can have both happening simultaneously. So that's a pretty good strategy to have. But you don't want to be in a situation where you're frantically trying to get the opponent with Flood, so you cast two back-to-back Floods. Because as soon as you cast the second one, the first one's going to go away. So basically, do a rotation, try to get all the spells out. It's pretty much the closest thing that she has to the rotations she used to have using Elemental Wheel in the previous games and in 11. So try to diversify as much as you can to make sure that you keep as much crap on the screen as possible. Again, the neutrals are pretty good for going through things and kind of protecting you. And they're also kind of bulky. Meanwhile, the forward and heavy attacks, they're usually better for tracking things. The Tornado, even though you might feel is going to protect you, in most cases, if people are right in your face, you're better off casting a neutral Blizzard or a Poison. The Tornado is good if you have some space and distance between yourself and the opponent. That way you can set it up and work your way around it. Try to use it as a buffer between you and the opponent. This is especially useful in 1v1s, if that's like the only way you're going to be able to do anything with Shantotto. Is you set up a Tornado, and then you gotta hide behind it while you like stick and move around your opponent. So that's her bravery attacks. Her EX attack is phrased interestingly, which originally led me to believe that it was a defensive tool, but it's actually not really. So we have grow to an immense size and unleash a long range wave of energy. You will be invincible while performing this ability. The second part of this EX skill makes me feel like, oh, whenever I'm gonna get hit, I use this, and it's cool. While it is true that she is invincible during the duration of her attack, she also has a super long recovery on this, so as soon as you get sidestepped, or if anything's near you, you becoming huge just really brought everyone's attention to you, and you're a sitting duck. You can't shield out of it, you can't spot dodge, you can't nothing, you're stuck in recovery frames, and you will eat an HP attack for free. So the way this is typically used, as far as my experience is, you can use it as a really good disruptor from like halfway across the screen. You can toss it out, and as you can see, it does a really considerable amount of HP or bravery damage. Most of the time, you will break someone with this. Lord help you, if you hit 2 people simultaneously, you're going to be sitting somewhere in the 6,000s in bravery. So this is really a good tool for saving the day. If you see that your buddy is about to get wrecked, you can target, throw this out, change targets rapidly, and then kind of throw them off your tail. So that covers her bravery and EX skill. Now we're going to talk about the other aspect, gimmick of her character, which is going to be rage. Which we can't unfortunately get to because I don't have teammates. So I'll have to stop this here and then edit it in a second. So let me do that. Let's see if this works. It sure does. Alright, so we're in rage. So, as we learned, your neutrals are straight attacks. But in rage, because she has multiple projectiles, she's going to lose some of the strength of the shield of these things. So no longer is her neutral going to be as good to go through other projectiles. Tornado turns into this, which fills the screen with crap, but is pretty good homing. And then Quake turns into smaller attacks that you can kind of spam out. Neutral fire, pretty much the same as Blizzard. You can move around while casting. It will just do a straight line toward your opponent. Pretty okay range, pretty good speed. And then water is probably your best bet when in rage mode, because all of these things track and have homing. And then burst, also equally good. It'll fill the screen with nonsense. What your main feature though is in rage is going to be the new poison effect you have. The thing's going to come out huge, be really fast, and it's going to eat up anything that comes through it, pretty much. In my experience, the only thing that really beats us out is going to be an HP attack. Otherwise, this should go through mostly anything. So now, all of your normal weapon skills turn into rapid fire, and your move that you used to use as a quick get-off-me tool now became your main go-through-things tool. If you pair this with the Poison EX skill, it gets pretty silly. Alright, and then last but not least, we got Retribution. This thing becomes hella fast and has hella range. Like, let's see. From back here, almost. Almost. Alright, so you can be about this distance from an opponent. The boomerang effect goes out pretty quick, comes back even quicker. There's situations where you can toss this thing out and then on its way back. So you can toss this out, your enemy will sidestep, they'll get right in your face, and on the way back it could clip them. This becomes really useful and is an awesome tool at taking kills and not just protection. So in rage mode, Retribution becomes a really crazy kill tool because it has really nice range for what it does. Also, people won't really be expecting Shantotto to come out of nowhere and hit them from this kind of range. Oh. This kind of range. Oh. This kind of range? This kind of range. There it goes. So yeah, that's her. So because everything chains into itself, you no longer have to use. You no longer have to worry about using a variety of attacks. All these things are going to self-combo, so really you just need to stop whenever you need to.
Stick close to your companions, Kupo.
And the only way you can get out of it is dodging. There's no dash canceling of any kind with her, so if you need to get out of attack quickly, just hold the shield down. Or the sidestep. Or you can just wait it out. But yeah, other than that, there's no way to weave multiple spells into each other. There's probably ways to make these things combo, but there's nothing that I'm like really too aware of. And obviously because I don't have an actual human opponent, it's going to be really hard to gauge whether they can tech or not. Alright, so last but not least, we just saw that share HP works wonders to put you in rage mode. However, you kind of probably want rage mode to happen naturally. There's nothing in rage mode that really makes her that crazy more powerful than her normal mode. It just really changes her playstyle and makes her more annoying, especially if they're expecting her to be out of rage mode. So that's kind of her strength there. The one thing I will say though is that her speed boost inside of Rage is fantastic. It's a considerable difference, and with Revivify, it's all the better. So you're really going to want to use Revivify, in my opinion, like all the time with Shantotto, because her biggest weakness is being able to actually get in and contribute. Because I feel like most of the time I am just out of range, and because of the way that people move around, it's really tough to get anything going. But yeah, that's her in a nutshell, and then I'm going to cover the HP attacks real quick outside of Retribution. Retribution normal outside of range is obviously this, just a little bit of less range and less intimidating. So let me switch it up real quick. And then, alright.
We make our stand here.
So Retribution is my personal favorite for Shantotto, especially if you're doing solo ranked, as it's like pretty much your main tool for keeping people off of you. Because most of her attacks are ranged, in fact all of them are, once people are on you, your best case is just to kind of run. Because there's not much you can do other than surprise attack them with a poison or a quick fire burst. Otherwise, you're going to be running the whole time. Retribution at least gives you a little bit of a melee attack that can really kind of keep you safe. Especially if people are like right in your face, it's pretty useful. Now, Vito Hunir is your other close range attack. It doesn't go any further than this. It's basically like a mini holy that appears right in front of you. And you can hold to charge it. It has some kind of suck-in property, but it doesn't seem to really increase the size of the explosion. It just kind of pulls them in. That's useful only if people step dodge you, in which case you can kind of grab it. Other than that, if you tap it, it comes out a lot quicker than you'd think. As soon as this orb is out, I'm pretty sure it's going to go off no matter what. So knowing that, this is actually a really good defensive tool. But obviously, due to its range, it's going to be really hard to kill with. Where, at least with Retribution, you had the ability to get somewhere close to, or somewhere at a further distance to deal with Retribution. This, similar range to Retribution when you're not in rage, but as soon as you go into rage, you're going to kind of feel the regret. As you can see, he was inflicted with a status debuff. That is going to be the defense down property, I think. Let's see here. So, the cool thing about her is with all of her HP attacks other than Retribution, she has some kind of enfeeble on it. So this one is a defense down, so it's like an armor crusher. So it reduces their defense on hit, it's pretty quick, gets people off in front of you. The only problem is, unlike other attacks that are like explosions, this doesn't cover her from the back or the sides. But it does kind of ruin everything in front of her on that 180 degree side. So let's go ahead and cover Divine Malison. Oh, Vito Hunir, I probably give 4 out of 5. It's pretty good for what it does. I think Retribution should also be a 4 out of 5. Because I also think it's good at what it does, especially because it goes along with its gimmick. Now, Divine Malison also has a debuff built into it. This one is like a couple things in one. But this is probably my least favorite of her HP attacks. It kind of works in a meteor-esque fashion. It'll rain an attack down immediately above the opponent, but the range is very short, and the width and actual like AoE ability of this move is not that great, to be honest. You're only ever going to hit someone with this if they're a mannequin. Now the cool thing is you can move while casting it, but as you can see, that's only as far as it goes. So sometimes you're going to be in a situation where you're like, oh, this is perfect. Like, I see them right there. I'm going to hit them. I'm going to save my buddy, my teammate. And it isn't. So the range is really deceptive. You have to be a lot closer than you think. Also, it looks like it has tracking, like it's going to chase them. It doesn't. Wherever it appears, it's going to stay, even if the opponent moves. It's just going to rain down in that one spot. And granted, you can move a little bit while it's casting and dodge out of it. But at the same time, you're not really going to be hitting anything with it. Now, it's probably less recovery than other attacks, but it's not my favorite. I really give it a 2 out of 3 as far as like actual usability. The worst thing, though, is if someone's right in your face, it takes a while to come out, so it doesn't really have any get-off-me tactics. If you have a situation where you have like 2 people on you, and you really just like want to kill him, like you got like 9999 in bravery, you got 2 dudes right in your face. By the time you cast this, you're already getting hit. So this is only useful for if you need a party setup where you need a long range attack, and this is like the way you're gonna do it. Like there's a walled stage, you can hide behind stuff and just toss this out to be annoying. That's pretty much the superpower of this thing. The debuffs on it are pretty cool. So it reduces bravery over time, so it has like a poison-esque effect to it, which is good because that can stack with your dash attack poison and the EX skill poison. It also lowers the defense and reduces their guard stamina. So it sounds incredible, and it's not bad, but sometimes you just want to kill someone, and this is a hard thing to do it with. But again, if you have the party set up for it, you can make this work, and you won't have to worry about it. But we're going to get to the one long range attack, which I feel is far superior. Far superior, which is Salvation Sight. This thing is awesome. It has pretty good tracking, has awesome range, has a debuff attached to it, and has pretty good vertical reach too. It's really, really nice for throwing across the screen. My favorite thing to do with Salvation Scythe is to annoy the crap of Warriors of Light, or anyone that has a shield for that matter. Because this is just a fun thing to toss out in between the other nonsense.
Looks like a bad matchup for you.
If we get our jobs done, this contest's as good as one.
So I think this one's just attack down. Yeah, reduces their bravery over time and reduces their attack power and stops their bravery from recovering. So that's pretty cool. Let's see, is this far enough? Almost. Yeah, that's a pretty good range. And you can see that it's pretty vertical. It has the drain effect right there on the bravery, so it's basically doing bravery damage on top of the HP. It's having the debuff, their attack is lowered, and they're not going to be able to recover their bravery. We're going to see what that means. I think that might mean, like, while they're debuffed, if they do an HP attack, they're going to stay at 0 for a while to make them easier to break. But yeah, you can use this thing from pretty far away. It'll track pretty far. It's best used, as you can see, coming from the ground up, because all of those sickles come out of the ground, and they'll really mess people up. But as you can see, it's also really linear, and it's not really going to protect people, not really going to protect you if people are up on you. But this is an amazing thing to throw out just because. So you can just set them up, throw a projectile, and as soon as they try to deal with Flood, you can hit them with the Scythe. And that's pretty much Shantotto in a nutshell. So my personal opinion is have Shantotto absolutely have Revivify so that she can be more useful and more engaged in combat. If you need a long range attack, use Salvation Scythe. If you need a short range attack, use either Retribution or Vito Hunir, however you want to say that. Whichever one you think is more useful. Both of them have their place, and they're both pretty good. Divine Malison, again, I would only ever use if you have the perfect setup for it with the team, and that's the way to go. Your other EX skill doesn't really matter. Use whatever the party needs. Use whatever you feel good with, and that's how you're going to run Shantotto. So that's the end of this really terrible and crappy tutorial. Hopefully I can edit this so it's not infinitely long, and then we'll call it a day. So I'll stop recording here, and then I'll probably get to bit.